I'm making this video because I want to highlight how we just live in this detached from reality society where we don't even know what we're doing in some ways, and we ignore some of the most harmful things while we pretend that the world around us is fine. And but in reality, it's not. We're harming our children in a way that's incomprehensible and obvious, and it's there's no way to deny it that we are harming our children. And so here we have this man is very impressive. Okay, a triple board certified psychiatrist in pediatrics and adult and child psychology. So psychiatrists have to go to medical school, and then they have to have additional medical training on top of this. So this guy is a pediatric physician on top of being a psychiatrist for adults and children. And his message is fantastic. And I'm sure that he has a lot of wisdom and wealth to teach us. And I do appreciate this comment that he made. What I want to highlight is the fact that we are causing the problems that he's talking about. He is telling adult men to regulate themselves when we were trauma damaged as children by pediatricians and doctors who share his education. So this is a disconnect from reality that is a immeasurable gulf. Okay, this man is talking to the victims after the fact, trying to tell them how to regulate themselves. Okay, one of the problems with early life trauma or adverse childhood experiences is it literally creates morphological and structural changes in key areas of the brain, such as the amygdala, the dorsal anterior cingulate, the hypothalamus, a number of different areas of the brain that are essential for mood, personality, memory, all these essential functions of the brain. And we're literally damaging our children. And then we talk to them like this afterwards, which makes no sense. I mean, the message is very important, but I want you to listen to it. It's really actually fantastic. And I totally support this entire comment that this doctor is saying. I just hope he can wrap his brain around the fact that his colleagues are creating the problems, okay? Do this when you're done with this. Google amygdala hijack, okay? And recognize that in early life trauma, children will grow larger and more reactive amygdalas.
Parents, before you help regulate your child, you're going to have to regulate yourself first. Because the urge to yell, that's not just frustration. That's your brain being activated too. If you're new here, I'm Dr. RJ. I'm a triple board resident at Indiana University specializing in pediatrics, adult psychiatry, and child and adolescent psychiatry. And I love talking to parents about how to communicate with your kid better. When your child does something triggering, your amygdala, your threat center, is activated as well. And because that happened, your prefrontal cortex, which is important for helping you to pause, think, and then respond, goes offline.
So let's talk about why that is. You have the fight or flight system and you got the rest and digest system. And these are two opposing systems, and these are actual neurological structures in your body. There's a separate system for each, both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so the sympathetic is a fight, flight, or freeze system. That's what's called. And then you have the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. When you are running from a lion, okay, and you activate your sympathetic fight or flight nervous system and you are running from a lion, your brain doesn't need to do complex social, strategy or figuring out the quadratic equation or complex logical thinking. It needs to focus on the survival mechanism. So what happens is your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, when you put your hand on your forehead, that's your frontal cortex. It's the area where your brain, the consciousness of your thinking part happens. So when your amygdala goes off, this shuts down the prefrontal cortex. It shuts down the thinking part. It dysregulates you. So listen to what this man's saying.
And now it's not just your child that's dysregulated. Both of you are. And two dysregulated people cannot have a regulated moment. So just like they say on an airplane, put your own mask on first before you try to help someone else.
So be a good example for your child by learning how to regulate yourself and also preventing people from mutilating the genitals of little children so that they don't have these issues to begin with. So we don't have men full of anger issues who don't understand why they are so angry.
Notice signals, aka biofeedback. Things like your chest tightening up, your voice increasing, fast thoughts. Those are cues, aka signals. Pause your body. Take a breath. Lower your tone on purpose, even if you're still frustrated. And lastly, buy yourself some time. Say something like, I'm going to come back to this in a second, because regulation is contagious and it starts with you.
That's so powerful. It does start with you. You are the adult. You are the one leading the child. So it depends on you. So this is very valuable information. My point is that this is a doctor who's talking about this after the fact, when his colleagues are generally mutilating the majority of children. Well, I guess it's dropped below 50%, thank God. But in the past, his colleagues are generally mutilating the majority of male children, creating men with adverse childhood experiences, with an overactive amygdala, with a hard time regulating themselves.
You don't calm down a child by overpowering them. You calm them by grounding yourself first. So before you respond to your child, check yourself first. If this helped you, send it to another parent. I love you. I'm praying for you. And I'll see you next time. Parents, before you...
I mean, it's a very awesome message. I'm not trying to hijack his message or take anything away from it. I'm trying to highlight the fact that we live in denial of the fact that our doctors are creating the majority of mental dysfunction in America. When you generally mutilate children, you damage the brains of that child for life, no matter, and that's ubiquitous. Every single child that is generally mutilated is going to have damage and alterations to their brain function. That's just the way the body works. The level and degrees is different for each person, and everybody can handle it slightly different. Some men will become serial killers. Others will become rapists. Others will become insecure. The point of this is that we all have different brains. We all think differently, and the way we are going to react differently to the same trauma is different. And that's why you see a tremendous amount of mental dysfunction in all areas of the globe that mutilate the genitals, in particular of male children, because males are more aggressive and they're more likely to become violent. So when you damage the male children, you're going to create a more violent, aggressive, angry society full of men with amygdala hijack. And this is literally guaranteed. And this is, when you study the psychology behind what we're doing to our children and how this affects our entire society, there is nothing in our society that's not touched by this. Our entire world is different because of this. We live in a different society because of this. Our world will end up differently because of this. And I think, and I'm not lying, as an educated man, this is probably the most important issue of our entire lives. It's not nuclear bombs. Well, I mean, it could be, but the nuclear bomb going to be pressed by a guy with a circumcised penis. Okay, let's be honest. The likelihood of a nuclear bomb being sent off is far greater when you mutilate the genitals of male children. Okay, so let's be honest. This has a tremendous effect on our entire society. Even doctors like this doing what they can to mitigate the damage. Why create the damage in the first place? Why do we have doctors that are not talking about the genital mutilation of children? Why do we not have psychologists, psychiatrists exposing the crimes of their colleagues? You know, this guy's a pediatrician. He's probably done circumcision in his residency. He's probably done them and completely oblivious to what he's doing. Yet here he is, a psychiatrist. I don't know if he has or not. I'm not going to put that on him, but it's a possibility. It's a very strong possibility. And the brainwashing is ubiquitous. That we have 64,000 pediatricians in the United States of America, I think, somewhere around that. And how many of them are speaking out against the number one trauma we're doing to children, which is in violation of every medical ethics ever written down on a piece of paper and has no scientific validity and literally damages the genitals of the sex organs of children? I mean, it's just crazy that we do this. And then we have doctors that don't say anything about it.